Oh, we never decided. Are you gonna host or I want from you know what? Since you're doing the positives, I guess it'd be better if you host.
We recording already?
Yeah.
Yeet, yeet. You already know what it is.
All right. Well, it's your boy Jay with the Geeked podcast, coming at you a little something different. I'm here with my boy Kenny. Say what's up.
You're
We talking about House of Dragon, the hottest show right now on HBO, and possibly hottest show out right now. Period.
I think
We're gonna talk about things we like, things we didn't like. I'll be representing the positives. My boy Kenny representing the pessimists and the negatives.
aha.
But we're gonna get right into it. We didn't get to do episode one, so we're gonna jumble one and two together right now. Uh, can you go ahead and kick us off with what you thought about episode one?
Honestly, first of all, this first step my pessimistic view. I started off with the expectation that we're gonna make sure the baseline, the floor here, our expectation. We started with the last season of Game of Thrones. I personally do not have high expectations for the show. I said that in my review. It's just how I feel. So that's it left off on a bad foot. So on that note, first episode, I honestly think it was a solid, solid intro episode. It wasn't nothing too crazy. We got what we were expecting, which is why I was surprised by the announcement that they had season two. They might as well have announced it when the show dropped, if they only needed one episode. But let's see. What can we pull out of episode one that bothered me? Yeah, that boy on the ESPN clock. Um, what was I gonna say? That threw me off. I had it at the tip of my tongue too. Oh, all right. So episode one, I don't know if we did a good enough a job establishing because we're in the past, right? 172 years before. I don't know if we set in the first episode the difference in times because how much of a difference as far as King's Landing is concerned, it does not seem like we're 172 years prior. Nothing has really seemed to have changed. It's not. I mean, I understand. Obviously, you can't like take cars away or something like that to show time like you can in regular historical thing. But we're 172 years before, and the only thing we've changed is added more Targaryens and taken away everyone else so far. That would be my one gripe. I don't think we've because when they were swearing fealty to King Viserys, they said the house's names, but I'm not even sure which Stark that was, and I had my captions on, so they might have mentioned it. I'm not gonna say it wasn't there, but everyone fell in love with the Starks with Game of Thrones. You think they would throw them a little, but obviously maybe they could be mentioned again later. It's still early, but I feel like it's Targaryen centric. Yes, I know they're the focus, but what else you giving me? Feel me?
I hear you, but I'll raise you the positives of this. Um, yes, we got plenty of Starks in the Game of Thrones, but obviously we can't have nice things because we lost every single one of them dudes. All right. What we didn't get in Game of Thrones was enough Targaryen, and that's exactly what we're getting now, right? We got too much Lannister. I hated almost every single Lannister that we got introduced to, except for maybe one and a half. All right, and
Yeah.
Tyrion's not the half. Okay. Um, with that being said, we also had not enough Baratheons, but I'm waiting for my Robert's Rebellion. You never know. I'm still holding out hope. And like I said, we got too much Starks, too much that we enjoyed, and we lost every single one of them. So I'm not even gonna hold on to the Starks no more. I don't want to see no more Starks because I'm tired of seeing them die. They established some really good characters right off the bat. Like I told you when we watched it the other day, King Viserys, he doesn't give me like that stoic Targaryen king vibe. And obviously he only got it because he was a male and had a very strong stake to the throne as opposed to the woman. What's her name? Rhaenyra, Queen Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And but like I said, right off the bat, we're giving characters. We're giving Daemon, who we're supposed to not like, right? And he does a great job of making us feel like this guy's a douche, And it just pours into the next episode. But from episode one, we see this dude is, this is not a nice dude. Yeah, I don't want to like this dude, and I want to see him go down. And if it's anything like Game of Thrones, he's gonna have a lot of dubs before we finally see him take it out, which is what we need. All right, we need to fester this pain. We need to fester like Khal Drogo let that wound fester him in season one. All right, it got to hit us hard, and it's got to hit us right, which is doing perfectly right now.
Now, since we did episodes 1 and 2 together, I think this is actually good timing because I don't think this would have been something to complain about too much with just episode 1 and probably a little bit less so episode 2. So it's good that we did them two together. My next problem is, which a lot of people have noted if you went on Twitter, which I did a little bit for our research when we said we are going to do this video, the time skips. Now, there was one in episode 1 that wasn't too bad. It was when they talked about when Viserys became chosen, because he was chosen, but he didn't just become king. His father wasn't dying, or was it his father? Yeah, his father wasn't dying. He was just, you need to pick an heir. Well, not his father, because he was the cousin. It was Rhaenyra's father, actually, because she was a girl, but she was the direct descendant, and he was like the cousin, whatever, because they're cousins. So that's how he ended up getting chosen, right? So there was that time skip. Understandable. They showed something from the past. It's a key element. Don't need to show all of it. Okay, whatever. We move on. The time has passed. Significant amount of time. I forgot how much it is from episode 1 to episode 2. What, 6 months?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so they mentioned it maybe a couple times, but the fact that it just like that didn't happen again. Maybe comparing the show to Game of Thrones might be one of our undoings, but how can you? It's the same, universe, all that stuff. Why? Okay, again, time can pass. That's no problem, but it's just happening. So what's the word I'm looking for? Jarring. It's like no, you're not ready for it. I will admit, yes, it happened from episode to episode, and again in the first episode at a good time to make a time break. But there's nothing coming told you that there was a time skip coming. And after the fact, maybe it's not too big of a deal. But watching the show at the end of episode 1, I didn't think episode 2 we were gonna be 6 months later. And it seems if you've seen each other for the next episode, there's another time skip. I don't know how much it is, but
yeah, it's gonna be significant.
So I hear.
As we found out, there's a lot of actors for each character that's already been announced. Right. And the age difference in the actors alone gives you a taste that it's going to be a few years even.
Yeah, but the thing about that is, right, they announced season 2, so you would think, maybe that's they already have the cast ready, but that might not be true. We might be seeing some stuff this season. So
well, like we found out the other night, Lena, who's played by, I forgot how old the actress is, maybe 12 years old, plays a 12-year-old, right, in the show. The other actress for her is like 36.
Yeah.
So it can't be a little jump. It's going to be a significant jump.
Yeah, at least minimum a decade.
Right, and I think it works because Daemon, for example, right? Daemon does a good job at looking relatively younger, right? But we know that the actor himself is, he's not a young buck, right? We've seen him in Morbius looking like an old decrepit man.
Yeah, but if we compare him to King Viserys, he's probably significantly younger, right?
Well, he's his younger brother, correct?
Right.
So it might not be it'll be significant, but not as significant as as you would say. Like, I doubt it's more than 20 years. It has to be within like a 15-year gap, I think.
So that sounds about right to me.
Right, but back to the positives, though. I do want to say that I can't remember her name. What's the main character's name? Rhaena. She has like the same name as her cousin or her aunt.
These again, more Targaryens, less variety in name. They're harder to remember. I'm not gonna lie. It's Ray something. Yeah, let's go with Ray. Let's just go with that.
All right, we'll call her Ray. So Ray is an absolute gangster. Love Ray. She pulls up to Daemon, tells Daemon, "Listen, all right, I know you think you got what it takes, but I'm here to tell you that you out of line. give me my stuff, and I won't have to hurt you. And she pulled up with a small dragon. On top of that, because Damon's dragon is humongous, and they made sure to show us the difference in size. But Ray just pulled up with that confidence, with that I'm the boss. You're just a sad child who wants what I got, and you're not gonna get it. Even though most likely he is gonna get it. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like the grandfather of Ares, the Mad King or something. But regardless, she's great. They gave us a character that we could really hold on to, and I just hope that we don't get the same Daenerys final season drop off.
Okay, so it's wait, damn, I already forgot it. Let me just okay. So Rhaenyra is the princess. Rhaenys is the queen who would have been. That's
right.
Married to Valyrian.
So say it again one more time. I forgot already.
Now I gotta read it again. You're right. Just to make sure it stick. So Rhaenyra Targaryen is the daughter and firstborn child of King Viserys, and Rhaenys is the queen who would have been. She was the one who Viserys basically usurped. If you want to
see, that doesn't make sense to me.
What?
So technically speaking, Rhaenyra is the niece of Rhaenys, right?
Correct.
So wouldn't it make sense for her to be Rhaenys and she's her niece?
Shut up! You're an idiot. I did not. I've known you for too long to not see that joke coming. I can't believe I walked into that. You're an idiot. You walked me right into my next point with your previous point, not this one about Rhaenys. The dragons. Again, I will caveat this. This is early, and there are some things that I could kill this show with that I will wait till we do the last episode of this season review because it'd be redundant if I mention it every episode. I'm not even gonna mention what it is now, but I know it's a point for every episode because everyone keeps complaining about it. I've seen memes and jokes, but I'm not gonna repeat it yet because we have a couple more episodes to go. But one thing I will bring on, one of the selling points of House of Dragon was so many more dragons. Now, technically speaking, we saw more dragons in Game of Thrones than this one so far because we've seen 3 dragons, but there's really 2 who've been in the focus, which is Rhaenyra and and Daemon's.
Right.
Because we know the king rode Balerion the Dread, but I don't remember if he has his own dragon. They haven't specified that. And clearly, but they have mentioned they are dragon riders, but we haven't seen that as a thing. We've only seen her, who's a part of the dragon riders, because she mentioned that, and Daemon, who I guess would have been previously. They never specified that. Not really that important. But one of the big setup points is we're going to get dragon battles, which obviously we're going to get later. It's the Dance of Dragons is what the Civil War is called. But 2 episodes in, we see 2 dragons. We saw them both in the first episode. We saw a little bit more detail of Rhaenyra's this one. But, by the time we got to season 4 in Game of Thrones, we had them 747 jet-sized dragons. Well, we had to wait for those to grow from birth. These are already here. They were here before the show started, as far as timeline goes. Let's get some more dragons. The king, one of my negatives, which I haven't even brought up really, is the king ain't doing it for me either, as you stated for yourself. But maybe if you got a badass dragon, I can let him slide. I mean, his dragon real, And again, one of the things we talk about with anime, this Geeked Out. We do otaku talk. Check those videos out. When they come in, there's some on the way, there's some already done. Check the feed. But one of the things we talk about with anime all the time is when times of peace and all that stuff, you got to consider that characters and stuff like that are usually not going to be as strong. Same thing for these characters. Viserys' predecessor had a peaceful reign, and then the biggest conflict was choosing between Rhaenys and Viserys. And after that was settled, there's been no problems, no issues. So everyone's gotten soft. That's why one of the things Rhaenyra asked when the Knights was coming through, she's like, what are their combat experience? Because they all just fighting in little tourneys. I mean, obviously, we see the tourneys could get deadly. We didn't see that in Game of Thrones. I will admit that. They mentioned, we saw some jousting, but it was just jousting. This is not just jousting. You get knocked off the horse and then you got to fight. That's a big change. I'll give them that, but I'm not the one saying the positive. So,
well, I do appreciate you pointing that out. And in Game of Thrones, we did see some jousting situations, and what I'm referring to is the mountain chopping off an entire horse's head.
Yeah.
Right. I know. And then obviously the mountain was going to destroy this dude. The Hound stepped in. We got a nice little, taste of the Clegane Bowl that we had to wait 8 seasons to finally get. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off the way we wanted to. But my point is,
you sure you don't want to do the negatives? You seem pretty salty about Game of Thrones. You can do negatives if you want next time.
We'll do a Game of Thrones review, and I'll take the negative side. But what I'm saying is that we're getting action on action, right? In Game of Thrones, it's a lot of dialogue, right? It's a lot of having to make you understand things. And this, obviously, there's a lot of information we still need to get, but they're giving it to us with a little bit of fan service on the side. Like we're not just seeing the joust, and we don't always in Game of Thrones we didn't see the whole joust. We saw like them start, then it'll pan off to Cersei talking or King Robert asking for more
And then
wine,
contact.
and then contact, and we're back. This one you see the hit, the parry, come back, grab another jousting pole, hit him again. You fell off. All right, time to box, and they start boxing, right? And then on top of that, they gave us Damon, who we're supposed to not like, and they let us watch him lose. All right, he wasn't like Cersei, who just didn't take L right forever until she finally took one, or like Joffrey, who just didn't take L's unless it was Tyrion slapping him in the face, or Ramsay, who didn't take not one L until he died.
Yeah.
But first off the bat, we see how much of a douche this guy is. He starts being real douchey and gets clocked in the back with a mace. Great. That's them giving us what we want, and they know that they don't have the luxury of Game of Thrones just being its own show with nothing to compare it to. They know they got to give us something to keep us entertained, and I think they're doing a great job, especially with episode 2. Episode 2 was fire. It planted a lot of seeds. It was a segue episode with a lot of like drama going on.
I will say this.
Go ahead.
So again, we keep mentioning Game of Thrones, and we made those caveats. Why are we doing? Because again, not a standalone show. I think again we might have to do a video of this. I don't know. We talk about it. We always have our talks. I think prequels have bigger problems than sequels, because sequels have to live up to hype and all that stuff. But with prequels, what's going to happen, especially with this. Like again, that's the biggest meme part about it is everyone's saying stuff like, "Oh, we already know what's going to happen," so it has less of a conflict. But another thing is this is finished product compared to Game of Thrones, which was not. Because in Game of Thrones, we got so many characters that by the time they died in the show, the books, they still have some of these people alive. So, we talked about how that makes a big difference.
Right.
I do think we're only again, basically, because it's 10 episodes for this first season. So we're going to assume it's 10 episodes for the next one. So that means after 2 episodes, we're technically 10% through with what the show is going to give us so far, because we don't know how much they plan on being it long total. So again, I don't want to be too harsh. It's only 10%. You got some chance. You got, I mean, you got a bad 10% and still get 90. That's fine. And I'm not saying that this has been some type of horrible show so far. It's just got a lot to live up to, and we're gonna give us his chance. I think it's gonna get there, but I don't think I have any more negatives. I want to give it some time to breathe. I will say that, but every Sunday, you got that target on your back. You got to deliver. So I do think, again, we talked about there being more fighting scenes. So I think without because they don't have to flesh stuff out. We know where this is going, and in Game of Thrones, they do a very good story of telling us how the Targaryen dynasty started. So we're 100 years after it started. We're 170 years before the other stuff we care about happens. So, I mean, there's a lot of intrigue here. So I think they're still giving. You got any other positives you want to give it?
All I want to say is before we sign off is that you've heard us go back and forth. Obviously we both came up with some good points. Mine being better than his.
Oh, okay.
Just leave in the comments whether you think the show is doing good or doing bad. Give us the pro or the con. And shit, if you leave enough comments, you can go up on the next show.
Hey, I would be against it.